Welcome to the Setbreaker podcast, and today we have a guest.
Yeah.
We have my beautiful Indian friend with perfect fucking skin,
Thank you.
Neeraj Srinivasan.
Yeah.
I said it right?
Yeah, you got it.
People fuck up your name all the time.
It's a divisive name.
It's a divisive name.
Yeah. Splits the room.
Depending how they say it, liberal, conservative.
Conservatives.
Blood or crip?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some conservatives nail it, and many liberals blow it. So
Whoa.
I don't want to. You know what? It's just the name. The name lives on its own. It's independent of these political party lines.
Yeah. It's the neutral ground. It's the neutral territory.
That's how I think wars should be settled. Is how my name gets said.
Yeah.
And whoever says it more correctly wins. So obviously, Indians win every time.
Indians will always win.
Historically speaking, not true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they control the rats.
They control the rats?
Yeah.
Someone told you Indians control the rats?
They're beast masters.
Like that girl in Suicide Squad that like controls the rats. Have you seen that yet?
No.
She's got like this little like, it looks like a dildo. I know they call it like an orb or something like that, but
It's a dildo.
it looks like a vibrator. And it controls the rats. She like holds it up and like rats just show up and do whatever she says.
What if she uses that to play with herself, that controller, and then the rats just and she controls the rats to just crawl over her, kind of like, so the little tiny claws are kind of like feathers to
that's
tickle
like
her nipples and stuff.
Feels
and
like bestiality, like something about that.
Kind of, yeah.
That's like having your dog like peanut butter off your junk. You know what I mean?
while you're jacking off, right? You put it on the
Yeah.
bottom of your nuts and your gooch and be like, hey, come
You know,
here.
there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah.
There's some people have preferences. What can I say?
Yeah. Damn. Do you ever think about how many of your friends might have fucked a dog or an animal when they were really desperate or something? Or it has to be. We have to know.
As comedians, I feel like we probably know more people than the average person that's fucked a dog. And I'd hate to say it, just only because there's been like I feel like there's just always stories of like sexual assault like coming out in comedy. Like
There's a lot.
there's a lot. It's like it's a strange but I don't know. That would be startling for sure to find out. For example, that Mike Kim fucked a dog once would be very upsetting to me.
You know what's funny? When I was a virgin in high school,
I don't know like where this story is going.
I had it was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
No, not even high school. I was like end of middle school.
Yeah.
I had a wet dream. But I fucked a dog.
Uh-huh.
And the dog was like loving to me.
This is a wet dream.
I think it was a wet dream. I don't know. But I never had a dream about
Not
that
even
since
a regular dream. Like you woke
then.
up
I think it was a wet dream.
and you had come at the idea of hooking up with a dog.
That's when I entered my manhood into puberty.
Wow, a dog brought you to life in your
think so.
dreams.
Well, I've always wanted a dog as a pet.
Yeah.
Like I used to tell my
That's
parents
just loneliness, man. I
It
don't think that's
it was loneliness.
I don't think that's wanting to fuck a dog. You're just a lonely kid.
But it manifested in a dream into like a weird, like a thing, which even to now is a thing where I can't, like, I have a hard time telling between like the love and sex stuff.
Yeah,
because I don't know.
with people, hopefully.
With people, yeah, not dogs.
All right.
It's like, damn, Mike's really good with dogs. I wonder why.
Every dog loves Mike. I wonder what that is.
But it was weird because it's like in the dream, it was like I didn't even know what sex was. So I'm like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it was just very intimate, of just like hugging each other and stuff. But it was. There was definitely like sexual undertones, but no actual real sex because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Everybody listening to this, especially all the girls, were like, you know what?
I don't think they're listening anymore.
Yeah, they
checked
stopped.
out as soon as, you know.
But the one that's continuing to listen, we might need to start dating because you accept me truly.
Or call the cops on you because clearly you're into some bizarre things.
But do I have dogs here?
Do you have dogs here?
You answered. You're here at my place.
Yeah, there are no dogs here.
Exactly.
Is there a reason for that?
No, the reason is they don't need to call cops.
You have to fight the urge. You can't have any pets around.
Yeah.
That seems, I don't know. Anytime, I remember when I'm like being young, like being in like middle school and like finding out that bestiality was a thing and like almost like not believing that could happen. Like something, like I remember finding out that child molesters were a thing. And just like literally like having my own mind blown, you know, for a second. It's like, wait, what? Like people do that? Oh my God. That's amazing. You know, like it's one of those things that's like, it's grotesque, it's horrifying, but it's like, I can't I can't help but have this like macabre fascination with it. You know what I mean? Like something about it is like, it's the most grim, most like vile shit. Like it's like beyond the reaches of my imagination. Like you find out something so insane that it just completely shakes your worldview, and like it makes the world a darker place. You know what I mean? When you at some point inevitably you find out as a child that child molesters are out there. You know,
true.
and suddenly it's like, oh fuck, like your situation, like your whole reality becomes like a little more like shaded, right? Like you color it a little bit differently.
Yeah, and then you start thinking back on the past experiences with like a camp counselor who may have like said something a little weird or would come to massage you. Just like I used to go to a private elementary middle school.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna say his name, Pastor Mike. And he would come around and we all knew he was gay.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but
he was a pastor.
Then he would come to us.
Yeah.
And then massage us and then put his, like from the back out of nowhere, hey guys, hey, you having a good day? And just whisper in the ear really close. And it was looking back on it, it was very sexual. And he would always go to like the quote unquote hottest middle schooler, because the guy that all the girls wanted.
Yeah.
So he was like the hot guy, but he's fucking like
sure he was.
in 7th grade. And Pastor Mike loved going to him. And the funny thing is, Pastor Mike now, he runs a LGBTQ a church. But I don't think they know this. But he threw a shoe at me because he got mad at me one time, so he didn't like me. And looking back on it,
he abused
kid,
me.
Man. He abused me. I was fugly. I wasn't hot enough for him. He's like, this guy's not worth fucking putting my tongue in his ear.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that he did that, like, because it was like in 2000. What is it? 2021.
Did like someone tell parents? Like, did it come?
No,
up
none of us,
all?
because
like,
we would joke about it. All the guys were like, dude, Pastor Mike, does he come to you and like just massage you? Why does he fucking do that?
When you're in 7th grade, that's as far as you're able to think. It's like, oh, Pastor Mike's gay. Like, it's,
just like joking, like he's gay, but we're laughing about it. But that humor was masking the truth of what's really going on.
Pastor Mike was hunting.
He was hunting and he was grooming. And he would add these fucking everybody on Facebook over the years. So I was thinking, because I don't like how he literally physically abused me by throwing a shoe at me. He was mad at me because I didn't hear him, and it was like on some fucking like field trip we had.
Yeesh.
And then I was thinking of literally calling his people's like where he's at or like the school he's working at.
Yeah.
And then just letting them know, hey, he's a fucking pedophile. But then I started realizing...
Well, we don't know that. You know what I mean? Like...
Well, that's... Yeah.
Obviously, it's not super cool to, like, be handsy with people's kids. But, Pastor Mike being a little weird and then calling him a pedophile, you know what I mean? Like...
Well, what he was doing now, as an adult, if you saw, you'd be like, that guy's for sure a fucking pedophile. But I decided not to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just putting more negative energy out there, and unless he actually that's play with my asshole.
If he's a pedophile, that's negative energy that belongs out there. That's something.
Yeah.
As much as it bums you out.
I will say this. I don't have any proof of him like fully doing extra shit.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm like, you know what, man?
You don't want to blow up a guy's life.
Yeah. So fuck it.
I don't know. Now I'm worried. Now I feel like we got to go check on Pastor Mike.
Right, I think so too. Ask all the kids, hey, does Pastor Mike kind of touch you a little funny?
What if he loves your podcast? What if he's listening to this right now? He's your biggest fan. He listens every week. He's like, I used to know Mike Kim when he was in 7th grade. Look at him now. He's in LA.
I used to massage him.
Yeah, I used to give him a massage. Why do you think he's so relaxed?
Yeah, why do you think he started shaving his head?
Pastor Mike's massages.
Yeah, Pastor Mike massage. He's like, we had the same name, and I used to massage him.
I think I heard that a lot of guys go into becoming a priest to like try to avoid like facing that they're gay. You know what I mean? And obviously, like, I mean, I'm not saying gay people, all of them want to like mess with kids or whatever, but I mean, if you're a gay man and all you do is hang around little boys. I'm joking. That sounds fucked up.
No. There's truth. It could be straight also as well. If you're a straight, let's say if he was even a straight pastor,
right?
And you have to suppress your sexual desires for like God or whatever.
Yeah.
And over time it builds, because that's such an internal, instinctual, animalistic thing that's in all of us, because we are programmed in our DNA to procreate, right?
Right, and you're like depriving yourself of that. You're keeping it out of like, like you're I don't know, you're not engaging with that part of your life. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like after that, if you're like whatever's around like starts to look attractive because you've just brain fucked yourself into like not having, I don't know.
See, hold on. No, there's something there. Then it ties in with the like confusing the little intimate moments of like, hey little Billy, like you're doing good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad we have this like mentor-mentee relationship, and then that gets misconstrued into some weird like intimate feeling into like a sexual thing, which is like what happened with the dog thing, the loneliness, I think.
Really? Yeah. Is this,
I mean, it makes sense to me
there,
in my head.
Is there science to prove this? I feel like we're just kind of guessing.
There is no science. This is me all just coming from comparing everything
this is
to
you
me
taking
and the
your
dog
wet dream.
Yeah, my dog wet dream.
And now we're blaming Pastor Mike for something he might not have actually done.
Yeah. But you know what? Maybe I resent him because he didn't massage me the way he massaged everybody else.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you loved Pastor Mike, and Pastor Mike didn't love you back. I wasn't getting the
attention that I needed.
That's another thing too, right? Like a lot of these dudes that have been in situations where they were molested by, like their religious leader, or like, you look at somebody like I remember like seeing in the Michael Jackson documentary, like you look at somebody and you put power on them, like you give them power and you see them wielding it, you know what I mean? And they like have amassed so much influence over your counterparts and the people in your life, and they seem like such an important person, and then they go out of their way to choose you, make you feel special, and it's just so hard, like when you're a little boy, like especially, I don't know, like if you don't have like a great father figure in your life.
And I didn't, because he beat the shit out of me.
Right. It's like you yearn for that, and then you get it. Like it doesn't, it doesn't feel wrong in the moment. Like it feels like, and then that's what those guys like take advantage of. Like they know that, like a child can be made to feel that way. And they know how to like put them in situations and like make them feel really seen and like really special, And I think they also like seek out like vulnerable kids for that reason, because they know that they're easier to manipulate. It's some really like,
It's evil shit.
It's evil shit.
It's
right?
fucked up. Mm.
Yeah. Well, so cut it out, Pastor Mike, is all we're trying to say.
Yeah. Stop touching. Just stop fucking massaging.
Stop massaging people.
Yeah.
Massages need to become more taboo. I feel like massages have become, because like coworkers will give each other massages. You know what I mean? Massages have become too blasé in our society. Like, but that's what like that opening scene in Pulp Fiction is about, right? Like them talking about the foot massage.
Oh, okay.
Oh
my God. Everybody's still, what? I mean, do you really think Quentin has a foot fetish?
Yeah. He's. I think he's talked about it. I think he certainly does. I mean, there. What was it in Dusk Till Dawn?
Oh, dude, that
when she
scene.
Just sticks her foot in his mouth.
Okay, like, but. Dude, her whole she's so hot. God. That was like, I was a kid when I saw that.
I was a kid when I saw that.
I didn't understand anything about feet and stuff, but that was just beautiful.
Yo, I hadn't even like seen the movie till like a few months ago. The whole thing, I'd seen that scene probably like a half dozen times
on like cable TV or something.
On like YouTube, just
YouTube?
because it was just like notorious, right? It's like one of the sexiest, like, and honestly, like, it was kind of cool that I feel like that scene in particular, and that. The fact that they had chosen her to do it was a really rich choice, and it's aged very tastefully, because I feel like what was considered beautiful back when that movie was made was very different, and she is like the more modern interpretation of what a beautiful woman looks like. Like that movie was like pre-Kardashian, right? So like wider women weren't really considered like, like I just feel like when it was like, whoa, look at that, like the typical like Hollywood like hot attractive woman was like skinny, you know what I mean? Had like big boobs, like butts weren't really a huge thing yet, But she was like a full woman, you know what I mean?
She was thick.
She was thick.
2 C's, baby.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Thick.
Yeah, and that's why like watching it now, it's like, damn, like when was this made? Like, fuck yeah, like good for you guys, you know what I'm saying? Kind of being like ahead of the times in that way.
Man, and then she would transform into a vampire. It's like, God damn, your face fucked up, but I would still have sex with you.
You'd have sex with the vampire version of her.
Oh, I used to fantasize about that. I loved watching horror films, and there was always like sexy vampires, and they'd be just like that. Yeah, that and like when a girl would get possessed by like an evil demon ghost thing, and then she'd go around killing people and stuff. But I'm still like, dude, you have a hot body. I would still fuck you, even though your face is fucked up. Because as soon as a demon enters, they just turn into like this. They go,
Yeah.
But the body's banging
they
still.
look bad. Yeah.
Or even like the Silent Hill nurses. They're literally rotting.
I remember the nurses.
But they're hot as fuck, dude. They were
hot nurses.
I used to like, because I was a kid when I would see that, and I would pause I get it from Blockbuster, the movie, and I would pause it because I couldn't look at porn.
You'd relieve yourself.
I'd relieve myself.
Frames of the nurses.
Literally, and I use my PS2 and then just like have it go slow motion, frame by frame, choppy frame by frame, to make it to see like a little bit of like slight jiggles, the slightest.
Yeah. Damn.
Kids these days don't understand.
I think one of the first times I had masturbated was to a video game.
Which one?
It was like a WWE game. It was like a female, because they had like a bunch of like they had like all these special features where there's like reels and you know what I mean. Like,
oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
So I think it was Tori Wilson was the wrestler.
Dude,
like
I used to. Oh my god, I had my cousin had a magazine. Tori Wilson.
Yeah.
I asked could I borrow it. Not for Tori. I didn't tell him Tori, and I just jack off to that all the time.
I know, man.
Dude, she is so hot.
She was so hot. Yeah.
She has because
I think
long legs.
For you, it was a dog dream. For me, it was Tori Wilson that brought me to life. You know, like
Tori Wilson brought you into your
awakening.
Your awakening, your sexual awakening,
sexual awakening,
and then a black Labrador. Bro, I mean,
you know, it's not where you start; it's where you end. You know,
it's where you end. Now I'm at a cat.
So you've graduated. For you, a cat is a
cat.
step up. It's okay. Well, that's basically like a really small person, you know.
Kind of, right? Like a little person.
Jesus. Who's still listening? Who's still here? I wonder. Who's still like.
By now.
I want to see where this goes.
Honestly, for like all this shit that I've talked about.
Yeah.
By now, they're still for sure here.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I don't know why.
That's a relief for me, I think, to know that like I haven't crossed like a line that hasn't already been crossed on this podcast.
No, trust me, we've crossed many lines.
Okay, well, good.
And boundaries in this.
I feel like gay people are gonna be mad at me. They're gonna be like, "You think all gay people want to touch little boys?" And it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
No, because we clarified about that.
Yeah, I'm talking about priests who are secretly gay.
Yeah, and then if the priest was secretly straight. Because you're still secretly straight in a way, technically, because you have to suppress your sexual desires.
Yeah,
so
you're not openly straight.
You're not openly anything.
Yeah,
you're God.
You're a vessel.
A vessel.
You're a non-sexual vessel
filled with cum that's fucking overwhelmed with this urge to just bust a nut.
Yeah, you're hanging out with kids all the time.
Yeah, so
it's not good. It's not good for you.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Pastor Mike,
get it.
No, don't get it.
All right, well, get it with men your own age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yo, man.
Pastor Mike.
Yeah.
Pastor Mike, if you're watching.
If I got a fucking like a Facebook message or something, I'm not friends with him on Facebook, but
you're gonna get sued by Pastor Mike.
It'd be so funny. But here's the thing. I never said what school. I never said where. I never said what town or city.
I feel like people are gonna be able to find
they're gonna
out.
know.
I saw this. Did you watch that documentary about cats? The guy that was like killing cats on the internet. They like found that guy. Just people like hanging out in their office. Like they just hung out on their laptop and went on Facebook and like Google Maps and like found him.
That easily?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd known about him before the cops even knew that he was like a problem. You know? So it was one of those things where there was just like a group of people like keeping an eye on this guy who like had this weird thing where he would like torture animals, but then he like killed a dude. And they
the guy?
Yeah.
I don't get it. There's animals and then there's a guy?
He like posts a video where he's like killing cats in like a really fucked up way. And then these people find it on the internet, and then like a Facebook group starts to like basically try to track down who this guy is and like turn him in for animal cruelty. But while they're looking for him and like they're getting closer and closer to finding him, he posts another video where he like kills a guy, like he commits a murder. And then like the video goes viral and like they don't know who this guy is, but like all this backlog of research that these people had already done basically helped the cops track him down.
So the dead cat videos was like a gingerbread trail leading to an actual like human murder, which is next level on top of the animal cruelty. That's fucking great. See, it's like,
what the fuck, right?
Yeah. The capacity of humans to do like evil shit. And I know we still haven't fully seen the breadth of what's possible. and what humans are really capable of.
You think like as a collective species, like we don't have a knowledge of the most fucked up thing that's happening out there. Like
maybe a few might because they're like
somebody
depending
has
on where they live.
At least one person
but majority,
has to.
let's say America, majority of Americans have no idea about true. You may see it in the news of like Afghanistan, all these other things, but we don't really know like the nitty gritty of what are they doing one-on-one in these situations with like torture or just like devious sexual acts or just
what would it add? That's the question. You watch these movies, you watch these documentaries about serial killers, like guys that break into your house, like the BTK killer, you know what I mean? Like that one really fucked me up. And it's like, are we really like preparing for something, or are we just freaking ourselves out?
We're just freaking ourselves out because none of that's gonna like. Just because you watch a bunch of videos on serial killers entering houses in different ways, just because you've seen like 5 hours of it, doesn't mean when it happens you're gonna be prepared. Because you literally did no preparation besides that's like watching 10 UFC fights and saying I could fuck a UFC fighter up, right? Because you don't know how to deal with your adrenaline, you don't know how to deal with your emotions, you don't know how to deal with the anxiety and the fear, and you're like freezing, and you don't even know what to do. What's the next step?
Those guys, it's like muscle memory. Like they're not even thinking. Like,
they're training for that.
Right.
So then
they spend every hour of every day thinking about it,
mentally in it, doing it, physically, mind to body.
For you, it's 3 hours. Maybe once a week.
Sitting.
You're eating Doritos.
Yeah. Do you have the capacity to take a knife and fucking stab somebody that's willing to, or even take someone's life who's trying to take your life?
Yeah.
You don't know. Most people don't know. Yeah. I like to imagine myself being and thinking that I could do it, but I'm pretty sure I'd be, like if somebody tried to take my life in my house, I'm pretty sure I could do it. But I would definitely lose my mind for the rest of my life.
There's definitely times when I'll just be like walking in the city, and if I see like a really big guy, I'll be like, okay, like you know what I mean? Like what's about to happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't used to be that way. Like I think I had an incident once when I was living in Long Beach where I think like I had like someone like almost robbed me.
Wow.
And like since then, like I've been like a little more on edge, just like being out
a little bit more careful, kind of a little bit every once in a while looking behind you, looking to the sides.
Well, because it was like early in the morning and I was in this alley. It was just me and this guy, and he's like walking towards me, and I like took the trash out, and he's like heading in my direction, and so then I've put it in the trash, I've turned around, and I'm like walking back and cut into like between the two buildings, like my building and the next building, and their gates are right next to each other, right? And I come to my gate, and I like kind of see him off the corner of my eye, like pass, and then turn around, and then he starts beelining it towards me.
Like speed walking?
Like a little bit. But like
a little too fast enough to be like, wow.
Just a little bit faster than like, because he was going in a certain direction, and he changed his mind and then came around in this direction. So now I have my keys in my hand, and I'm like kind of shuffling to like get my key out to like open the gate, and then I see that he's like right there. But like now I've sort of like adjusted my position a little bit, so I'm like facing out to him, and then I look right at him, and then he like kind of catches my eye, and I think that's the first time he like understood, like he realized how tall I was, because he was like kind of a shorter guy, right? And I got like a really good look at his eyes, and they were just beat red, like he hadn't slept all night. Oh. And he just kind of goes up to the gate for the building next to mine and just starts like looking in there. And I just opened the door and just came right in. Like, I think he thought about it and then like got a little bit closer and was like, oh, maybe not, you know? But I just felt something in that moment. I was like, oh, this is about to go real wrong. Like I was like, and I realized like I was not ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, obviously, like he wasn't like a big guy. Like I probably could have like, if something had happened, if he didn't have a weapon.
But you don't know.
But I don't know.
You don't know. And his eyes were beat red. That's freaky.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was really fucking.
He definitely had some kind of intent to potentially do something.
I think it crossed his mind, and then something like either he froze up or he decided not to.
Especially the city you live in, that's kind of known for certain types of people. So I think it's a good move that you. There's a point where the ego needs to be put aside as a man and be like, you know what, I don't need to do this.
But it made me aware of like this is women every day. You know what I mean? Like this is always like this for them. Like everywhere they go. Yeah. You know, I was talking to someone else about this last night. Like, you know, when a woman gets like attacked or whatever, like, you know, mugged, what have you, like they're always like, you know, like unless they like surprise them from behind, like if someone's approaching them, like they're always like a little bit more ready for it. But for a dude, like it's too late by the time it's happening. You know what I mean? Like by the time you realize what's going on, you're already like getting your shit rocked.
That's true.
Yeah, man.
Especially because they're gonna approach guys a little bit more aggressively, extra, because especially if they think the guy may potentially be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
They're gonna do some shit like extra too.
And they're always in groups, right? Whereas like one guy might like try to attack a woman. Whereas like generally speaking, if they're trying to jump a dude, it'll be like at least a couple of guys.
Definitely to ensure that it's gonna happen. Or if it's one guy, he's gonna make sure he's big enough.
Right. He's a
this guy.
significantly bigger guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But it's not even on our radar. It's not even, you're not considering it. But like since that incident, it happens rarely, but like every once in a while, like it's, you know, it'll be late at night and I'll just be like on the sidewalk and I'll see like a big dude and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm a little more on edge.
I think it's smarter to have that situational awareness better than not having it, because you never know. Like you truly do not know what people are capable of and what they're gonna do. Because just because we wouldn't do that and we don't think about it doesn't mean that they wouldn't.
Yeah,
right.
But it's also, you know, most people go their lives never being attacked. You know,
but that is what puts us all into a false sense of security,
right?
Into a lull, which I think we shouldn't do, especially late at night.
Yeah.
Or like leaving your fucking kid, like, hey, honey, stay here.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, my little, hey, 6-year-old daughter, stay here while I go to the bathroom in this crowded mall.
Yeah, 99.9% of the time, probably be okay.
But that
0.1%. It's all it takes,
dude.
Have your life turned inside out.
Yeah, I mean, I just woke up today, saw an Instagram post of my friend saying his friend, like two of his, like they look like a son and a daughter. They look 4 and 5, something like 4 and 6.
Yeah,
are missing because they were last seen talking to a stranger by a car.
Wow.
And then they're like, please look out for them.
I don't know if it's true. I think I read somewhere that there's more slavery in the world right now than like
sex slaves and all that stuff. Everything.
Just everything. Yeah, everything. Yeah. But then like ever before, like in history, which makes sense because there's more people than ever. But also like, how the fuck, you know what I mean? Like slavery was practiced out in the open, and there's more now in secret. That's really scary.
But there's so many pockets of the world that aren't even seen. Mm-hmm. Right? It's fucking huge. So we don't know.
I think it's easy to trick yourself into thinking that, because with like social media and stuff, like the world does feel small. You know, there are fewer mysteries, but yeah, I mean, it's still a huge place, and there's like a lot of dark corners. You know,
a lot of really dark shit.
Just get up and murder you, like
I know, right? You know, it's funny.
Thanks for recording it for me.
As soon as you said that, because I think it's because my dad used to beat my ass, so I've been prepared my whole life just in case. As soon as you said that, I was like, I will murder you. Yeah. I thought that for a second.
We both thought about murdering each other.
Yeah. I was like,
you fucking coming for me?
Yeah, coming for me, I'll fucking kill you for snow. But no, but when I walk around, dude, and like even here where I live,
it's a nice neighborhood.
It used to be bad.
Yeah,
there used to be gangbanging and stuff, but it's a lot better now. But there's still like some activity here and there, like a little bit. But I never really had my car broken into one time, but that was my fault.
I still never feel unsafe in a city, even if it's like late at night, but it's like, you know, like I've definitely been, you know, in downtown LA at like 3 a.m. and like, ooh, okay, you know what I mean? Just like seeing a couple of like zombies around and be like, oh man. But like, even beyond that, like something about that feels safer to me than like being in a suburb. Like it's the most eerie thing.
Because it's too quiet. And it's funny because I feel the same way as you.
Yeah.
Just something about just having that noise. Like, you know, like we know this homeless guy's got like some schizophrenia, but he's yelling, but he's yelling at himself and some invisible guy. And you kind of look at him, maybe he's not even looking at you. And if he does, he makes quick eye contact, but he's too busy talking to his invisible guy.
You don't know. And it's like, it's obviously a mentally like upset person, right? So it's easy to like get scared and be like,
no, but I feel safer around that because I know what that is.
Right. Exactly.
Versus somebody who's not like that.
Anything can happen. Like it seems like people are not paying attention in like a subdivision. You know what I mean? Like if someone comes and fucks you up, like who's actually gonna see? You know, in the dead of night. Like that's why I mean that first scene in Get Out where they take Lakeith Stanfield Have you seen Get Out?
Yeah, I've seen it. Which scene are you talking?
In the beginning, when he's like on the phone, and he's just like, oh, there's a car pulling up next to me, you know, and then like he kidnaps him and puts him in the trunk. That like really freaked me out, man. Like just the first like couple of minutes of that movie was like, holy shit. Like, cause I've thought about that happening so many times, like not getting kidnapped, but just like I don't know, like somebody just like pulling up and just like telling me to get in their trunk, or like,
or like that guy that just sprints for no reason.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like the guy that beeline towards you.
Yeah.
Because that, I don't know why, that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Just somebody sprinting for no fucking reason towards me and then like goes away. That freaked me out a lot.
Why was he sprinting? Because he was like an Olympic athlete, right?
A former Olympic athlete, yeah.
That's right.
Actually, Get Out is one of those movies I can rewatch. I think it's so great, and there's a lot of like undertones that is relatable to. It's not just for Black people. Like as an Asian dude who had went through or goes to like little passive aggressive jabs or little like low key things. We know we get it here and there, and, or even up to this point when we were a kid, whatever. So it was very relatable, and I don't know. I just think it's just really well done movie, man. I think
it just spells out something that I'd understood for a while, which is that if you're a non-white person in America, there's people when they see you just make like a series of assumptions about you based on what they think your culture is, like immediately, right?
Yeah.
And then everything that comes after as they get to know you, it just kind of supplements that. Like that's they just have like they make baseline assumptions about you, and then it's hard for them, I think, if they do, especially if they don't know a lot of Asians, like to kind of incorporate new information that they're finding into that understanding. So I think that's where like some of that stuff like comes from, is that they expect you to be a certain way because you're an Asian. And then everything that comes after, like I'm a comedian, you know, like I live in California, like all these things that are tied to your life are in addition to that, in addition to your Asian-ness, you know. And that movie I think does a really good job of like how they spell that out. Like even when, in that scene where the Asian guy comes up to him and he's like, do you think your ethnicity gives you an advantage or a disadvantage? Like that's a very bizarre question to ask that is only posed at minorities. Like I've had white people come up to me after my shows and been like, why aren't you an engineer? It's like,
are you fucking kidding me?
So weren't you laughing just now? Like, so you're telling me like I should
is that what you were is that what you're thinking the whole time I was up there slanging
jokes? You should be engineering. Like, yeah. I've had multiple people.
What state?
This was in Idaho. I had a woman when I interned at a news station in Seattle. I don't remember her name. I think it was like Deb or something. She's a Black lady, and she was like, "You should be an engineer." And I think maybe she was trying to help me out. Like, bro, you're not cut out for this business. But like, even that was like a weird thing to like say. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to like escape that kind of gaze, right? That sort of. You're like everything that I am is in consideration of the fact that I'm Indian. And I don't think that's necessarily something that if you're not stricken by it, it's something that you're like, you know, you don't consider it when you talk to people because it doesn't feel wrong to you.
Yeah. And the other factor is this. If we speak good English, obviously, like we're fucking born in all that stuff. Some of them may look at us and be like, oh, they're trying to be white. It's like, motherfucker, we're born in America. We're just speaking English.
There's no way that I can be that is like entirely acceptable. That's another frustrating thing about, I think, like, you know, I mean, especially like even being a Black person, I feel like you have a little bit more latitude. But like with being an Asian or Hispanic person, it's like you kind of have to like fall into one of three worlds. You know, you're either kind of white, you're kind of Black, or you're traditional. And, you know, whatever choices you end up making in your life, people end up pushing you towards one of those three pockets, depending on how you consume the culture that's offered to you, that you're just as readily engaged in as they are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
That you grew up in. Exactly.
But for me, it's a peculiarity because I don't look like you.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that it's in spite of the fact that I've effectively, you know, I've had it in my life, if not as much, then almost as much as you have. It's still, it's still for me should be considered a foreign thing because you consider me a foreigner.
Yeah. And a thing that comes up often, especially in terms of stereotypes, you and I, well, you're Asian, but you know what I mean. Here, it's like Indian and an Asian, they separate it. They look at us as we're supposed to not be confident. We're supposed to be very beta and have, low testosterone and not speak our mind. So us doing what we do and us, speaking our minds and not being afraid to be ourselves is a threat, which I've dealt with a lot of people who were like, had a problem with me being confident in myself, right?
Yeah.
And it bothers them because we don't fit the mold, and especially me now with my shaved head, and then I'm not a big guy.
Yeah, you don't have a comb over,
but I'm not small.
Glasses, yeah.
I don't fit the mold, so they feel sometimes they do little passive aggressive things to take little jabs to see if they can do a power move, like overpower me low key, and I'll call them out on some shit. I'll be like, what do you fucking, or I'll just roast them real good. They'll shut the fuck up and I'll put them in their place, right?
Yeah. Do you think Asian men like have a chip on their shoulder for that reason, like a little bit? Like,
of course. I mean, that's a huge reason why I made a lot of decisions up to my very late 20s, like entering 30s. Like now, it's gotten more. I don't really think about it as much as that before because a lot of my decisions was like everybody wants me to lose because I'm Asian. Like, well, I'm gonna date this girl. I'm gonna fuck this fucking white bitch because I'm.
Yeah, that's almost like that's like when you're young. I think it's like a badge of achievement. It's like I'm now like percent. It's such a weird way to think about like the relationships in your life.
Yeah,
it's like
maybe that's why they all went bad, right? Because
yeah,
it wasn't even for me. It was to prove something. But by going through that, it actually made me more confident. Now it started off in maybe not the most healthiest way, but it did bring me to a point where I am quote unquote naturally more confident, which is just because I purposely put myself into positions to force that out so people would give me some kind of acknowledgement and not just be like, you're a fucking pussy because you're Asian, like you need to be like, and I know it because
people do give you weird props for that. Like if you're an Asian man and you're able to achieve a non-Asian woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, they have a problem with it. I used to date like a hot Latina girl, and she was showing me DMs of like guys saying, "Are you really dating that Asian guy?" They're like, and she's like, "Why?" He's like, "Oh, no, nothing. I'm just wondering." Like they're like in awe of like, why the fuck would you be with an Asian guy?
Would you?
You're sexy Latina.
Don't you know
thick as fuck.
how tiny their dicks are?
Yeah. Like, how does he fuck you from the back?
Dicks?
How does he doggy style you? Because you have a fat ass and you got a tiny dick.
Yeah.
Does he reach the fucking pussy?
Which is also a stereotype that's never made sense to me because, Asia is the most populated place on earth. Like, listen, if anybody knows how to fuck, it's Asians.
For sure. But then devil's advocate, somebody would be like, that's because Asian girls got tight pussies. So it fits the bag. But here's the thing. If it was that small, if our dicks were that small, no matter how tight the pussy is, we still wouldn't be able to make it happen. I
think you probably could. I think there's a lot of little dick guys, knocking kids into their respective women.
Eating a lot of pussy.
Sure.
To make up for it.
There's a lot of tiny dick dads out there. If there weren't, there wouldn't be tiny dick people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tiny dicks, sometimes tiny dicks get the job done. I have an incredibly tiny dick. This is how I tell you that I have a very small penis.
Very tiny. But you know what?
Real, like damn small.
Yeah. It looks like half my thumb.
Yeah.
It looks like Megan Fox's thumb.
I've shown it to Mike Kim.
Yeah.
He was not impressed.
Yeah. It was very dark.
Yes.
It's very, very dark.
I think that's I don't know.
Like this.
Yes. It's like take this and just, make it fun size. And it's exactly
Cut up in a quarter. Actually, it's like this hard. This fucking part of the end, maybe if that, maybe half that.
That's why I always have to have sex with the lights on because it gets lost in the dark.
It gets lost in the dark. You're like, I don't even know if I'm doing it.
So small and so dark. I can't even, where did it go?
It's like, do I even feel it? That's how fucking dark it is.
Yeah.
I don't even know, man. Damn.
That's also another thing. Like, we do shame, like we're not supposed to shame people for how big they are, but like it's very okay to shame people for how small they are. You know what I mean?
Isn't it
like,
funny? But then
I'm like kind of a skinny guy, and people love telling me how skinny I am.
Still?
Yeah. People are
You're not even that. I know so many people that are like fucking window frail. You're not skinny like that.
Yeah. But I'm lean, like I've always been thin. And yeah, like even like, I think it was like last summer, like my buddy's wife was visiting and she was like, oh, I was like, yeah, because I was in the middle of like a workout because I was like a bike messenger down in Long Beach. And I was in between deliveries, and I'd just come home to like just get a glass of water. And I was like, yeah, I'll probably ride like 20 or 30 miles today.
Yeah.
And she was like, whoa, no wonder you're so skinny. It's like, all right, cool. Like,
what kind of accent was that?
She's from the Middle East, but I don't know why I said, yeah, I guess I didn't need to do that, but
that sounded like some kind of like Ed and Eddie cartoon. What are you doing here now?
It's Rolf. Like,
yeah, Rolf. My name is Rolf.
Why are you so skinny?
Yeah, what are you doing?
That's Borat.
Now it sounds like fucking Filipino. What are you doing here now? I don't know what is going on.
I just thought it was a weird comment to like make about a man. Like,
were they overweight?
What if I was a great big fat guy?
Was she overweight?
She wasn't very thin,
but she wasn't in shape.
She wasn't. I wouldn't consider an athletic woman. Let me put it that way.
But that, you know what I noticed? Even me, I will have some women say, "Oh, you're really like lean."
Yeah.
And the ones that say it, they're
like
all
a little bigger. Yeah. And big people in general used to feel the need to comment on it.
But I think it's kind of like not a true compliment or a true observation. I think it's a backhanded, like,
it's a dig.
It's a dig because you're small for a man. I have to say that because I'm bigger for a woman and to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see that. But I let it go because I'll just be
I mean, what can I say? You know, I can't gain weight just because she says something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're biking 20 to 30 miles, you sick fuck.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Yeah. That was a fun job.
Dude, you must be able to fuck for hours. For a long time.
Not all at once. Like,
I know, right? Like your dick would fucking, it would hurt.
Like pull out in the middle to go calorie load. Like, all right, I gotta have a Cliff Bar.
Yeah. When I used to run every day, like 5 miles, I was able to fuck for so long.
I didn't exercise very much, like through my 20s. You know what I mean? Like really, just in the last like 3 or 4 years, I've been like trying to get my body back together.
Why?
And just because it's just added value to my life, I think that I forgot that it did. Because I ran like track and cross country in high school. I got pretty good, like not like champion or whatever, but like I got pretty fucking fast. And I just remember like my grades got better. Like I was like better with girls and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I felt like a better person. Like I felt sharper. Like I was just more relaxed all the time. Like I used to have like weird like anger issues and like all of that was just like completely mitigated. Like just every dimension of my life started to feel like it got better, and it was. But then, you know, I got to college and, you know, I wasn't really like around my runner friends anymore. And like all these new people that I'd met, like didn't really love working out that much. And I just kind of like dropped off. And, you know, when I moved to Portland, like didn't really do much there just cause like the weather isn't really conducive to like going and doing stuff outside. Like I'd go work out, like, you know, go like to do some like climbing maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but like it wasn't really serious. You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of, you know, like an hour and a half every time I went in there. And it was just kind of like that for a while. But I stopped drinking a couple years ago, and I just like made a deal with my buddy. Like when I was going to start again, he's like, you know, you should have to do something really hard. But if you're going to cave on this. And I was like, what if I run a marathon? And he's like, okay, yeah, run a marathon. Then you start drinking again. And I did. I like trained for it and then ran a marathon. But then after that, it's like, I can't stop working out. Because now it's like I'm back in that space where like, I just feel like my jokes got better. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm able to perform better in every facet of my life if I have just a steady regimen of cardio.
Yeah, the discipline that comes from doing that, you know, all the running and exercising and the routine, and then getting that stress out, and then getting the endorphins, and then that self-respect, and then the most important thing from that as well is not just the health stuff, but the mental dexterity that gets built, the mental fortitude. You're able to handle more things because you're intentionally putting yourself in a position constantly to where you have to be tested.
You're uncomfortable.
You're in a stressor, a deliberate stressful moments that ultimately are always going to make you stronger. The more we avoid these things, the weaker we become. And that's why I made a video recently that I posted on TikTok where I said, misery leads to happiness. You need to feel miserable to understand. So if you numb it with weed like 24/7 and getting drunk all the time, you never really come to an answer.
You're not dealing with it. You're just kind of putting it away.
You're not dealing with it. And that, you know, even when you numb it a little bit, it's not a true numbing. It's always there, and it slowly builds up, and you need more of the substance or whatever or some distraction, or even more fucking like mindless sex to try to make yourself feel better, but you always feel shittier after every single time. After the alcohol goes away, after the weed kind of dies out, after you bust a nut, and then it gets so bad to a point where it doesn't like it. Now you feel like shit even while you're high, even while you're under the influence.
Because you didn't deal with it.
Because you didn't deal with it. You
there,
can't. There's so much that you just can't shove down anymore. And I used to do that for years. So it makes absolute sense why your comedy got better. And it's just because if you're running a fucking marathon, what's this fucking set gonna?
That's another thing. Like, I didn't take it as personally when I bombed. You know, like if I run the day before a really rough set, you know, like in the morning or in the afternoon, you know, like before I go and like, you know, just like take L's for like everything I've written at the mic, you know. It doesn't feel like it's as devastating. I don't take it as personally because it's like, I already did a fucking dope thing today. I ran 10 miles today. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Did you need water, by the way?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Chilling, yeah.
All right. Because you're kind of like like you're doing like
yeah,
mouth
you know
slaps
what? Why
where
not?
you're,
Yeah.
that's like what people do when they have cotton mouth. So I think you do need water.
I do have cotton mouth.
Okay. So I'm right. Because even when you were trying to like swallow after like talking, I could tell there was no saliva in there. Am I right?
Yeah, you are. You absolutely are.
Man.
I don't like cutting off the flow. You know what I mean?
No, dude, I need you to be comfortable. The only reason why I didn't offer you water was because I was like, maybe he doesn't want to drink too much stuff at once. So I was like, I'll give him later, but I realized you need water.
No, I have to piss my pants in every podcast I record. No, I'm good. So Mike Kim's downstairs getting a water bottle. So I could just tell you guys some personal things. More personal, I guess. All right. Thank you.
That was a desperate gulp of desperation just without the water. Just
listen, we're going through a lot of heavy stuff right now. All right.
Yeah. You weren't even talking that long after me, and then you were like,
Wow, I feel a lot better.
Now you feel better, right?
Now I feel a lot better. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying something.
Damn, dude. Diuretic, man. Damn, you drank a lot of that coffee. Fuck.
Yeah.
You say you drink 4 cups of coffee a day?
On a bad day, yeah. On a good day, I drink 2. But I mean,
so much.
On weekends I try to avoid it. But I mean, inevitably I'll end up having a cup. I gotta kick it. It's like my last like terrible vice that's like destroying me. My watch just told me it's time to stand.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, my watch tells me I got to stand up sometimes because like you've been sitting too long.
Why don't we stand for a little bit? Like
you want to stand?
10 seconds or something. Just hold it up. Yeah, let's stand.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm supposed to stand for 1 minute. Just kind of shake your legs out a little.
Yeah, we need to because the bad posture. I've been driving a lot lately because I've been doing like, side gigs where I have to drive a lot.
Yeah.
And I noticed my posture is getting a little dicked up,
You should stretch, like do yoga and then climb.
Dude,
also.
I stopped doing yoga so long ago.
Game
When I
changer.
was doing yoga during the lockdown.
Yeah.
And I was so limber, and now my body's just. I may have a little bit more muscle, but functionally wise, functional, whatever, not as functional.
Functionality. You're more functional.
Less functional.
You're less functional now.
But I look better.
You look better not doing yoga.
No, I should do yoga.
You should. All right, let's sit back. Yeah. The stand-up vibe isn't working. I don't know why I just killed the.
We look like just when new stand-up comedians act like they're professional and they like know everything.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like right there.
That was bad.
Like we were doing like a really like a fucking lame duo.
It's like a
stand-up duo set.
NFL sideline commentary, which is like 2 guys on the field, but like we actually don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It was like a bad bumping mics. Like
yeah, it's like you're who's that Indian guy? Was it on the Community?
Yeah, Abed.
You're Abed, and then I'm John Cho.
Man.
From fucking Harold and Kumar. That's what
we
that
can't
was.
just be Harold and Kumar. That's an Indian guy.
Oh,
too.
I forgot. Oh shit, I forgot. Oh, you're right.
You think Kumar was Arab? Would you watch that movie?
I forgot. Shit, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we are the discount versions of those dudes.
We're very discounted, especially financially.
We should have sandwiches.
For sure.
We should just,
We should. Costco sandwiches, just the fucking finger sandwiches.
Exactly. It's not White Cats. No, we're not going that far.
Hell no, man. Just to get that shit. That right there is the definition of having a goal and doing whatever you can to achieve it. That's actually really impressive that they went out of their way to go like multiple states.
Yeah. I thought you meant make the movie. I was like, okay, yeah.
Both,
you're just talking about the guys in the movie getting their
high
sandwiches. Yeah.
To get a fucking
I mean, it was like
a
a twist on Cheech and Chong, right? Like that's why, because I didn't see Cheech and Chong until years after that came out. I was like, this is like Harold and Kumar. Basically, those guys, they smoked weed, they watched this movie, and it had to have been in a circumstance where they were trying to get into Hollywood, and they kept getting offered all this weird shit. Yeah. And they're like, let's make a movie that we want to make. Let's get stoned. Like, let's write a stoner road trip adventure. I don't know if they wrote it, but I thought it was like an achievement that movie became such a mainstream success, you know?
Especially with the main cast being who they were at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody was making movies like that. I mean, because this is something I used to talk about in another podcast I did. Like, if you have a movie with like a majority black people, it's like, okay, that's a black movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's how people will like think of it, right? Like, if the lead is black and the love interest is black, even if everyone else is white, that's still like a black film. Yeah. But like that movie broke so many of those rules. Like an Indian guy and an Asian guy, like very underrepresented, but they're like as American as can be. Like, and they comment on it. Like, it's kind of meta in that way. Like, it's not shying away from addressing that fact either, that, you know, like people expect them to like act a certain way and this is how they get treated, like everywhere they go. And then you gave them dimensions. Like, they weren't just these stereotypical dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they acknowledge the presence of these stereotypes in their lives in a very like visceral way, but they're operating through it in a way that's very like realistic and like normative in terms of what American culture is actually like, because they are American, you know? So in that way, I feel like just at a fundamental level, that movie was like groundbreaking, and I don't know if people give it enough credit for like what it actually did for Asians in entertainment.
You know what? Now I'm thinking of even John Cho's character. Looking back on it, because what we were in high school around that time.
I was in middle school.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, so we're 3 years apart. So yeah, I was barely in high school.
You were just in high school.
Okay. Yeah. So when I was
in
like
8th grade or something.
Something like that, right? And I remember John Cho's character. He was working a business job that he probably wasn't the happiest with. He didn't believe in himself.
It was like a corporate job.
And then like he had white dudes that would like fuck with him, and he just stayed quiet. He wouldn't speak his mind. And then there was like a girl that he was attracted to in his fucking apartment building that he wouldn't talk to.
Yeah.
But he goes through this whole journey of shit and just like, what the fuck? And then he finally talks to her, and it's that moment I related to so hard back then in a way of, I wish I could do that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck yeah. But looking back on that scene and that breakthrough for him, I've had multiple little breakthroughs like that in my life where I was like, I'm tired of being this thing that people are telling me I need to be. Like, you know? Yeah.
I think Asian men definitely feel a lot of that pressure. I think everybody does, but I think in a very specific way, just because you are kind of expected to be like submissive and like passive, and you know that in the culture of men, generally speaking, isn't really something that they value, right?
Especially in America.
So I think there is like a weird amount of like, oh, I have to like prove them wrong, but that's also kind of silly if you think about it, because it's like then you're just sort of like, even if that's something you pull off, it's like you're just stretching yourself to the standard that is preset for you outside of, you know, your input. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still adhering to their rules in some effect. So the best thing you can do is just be honest with yourself about what gives you pleasure and like what adds value to your life, and really just absorb those things, and not necessarily like, I mean, I understand the stereotypes and understand the reasoning behind why they exist and why people might treat you based on, you know, their like preconceived notions about how they operate in the world, but also just like live your fucking life, you know, because at some point I'm never going to be able to stop being an Indian guy. I fucking love Indian food. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Indian food is fucking fire.
I drive a Honda. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, these are also practical things that like make sense for my life.
Dude, I love having a Toyota Camry. I don't understand why people gotta get a Rari. I'm like, I don't want people to hear me coming in. I don't want to stand up. I love a quiet car that has gas efficiency and that can protect me and people that I'm driving if we get into a car accident.
A to B, it gets the job done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need it to have like all the bells and like, that's the thing. It serves my purposes. And we don't value modesty in American culture as much as we like to tell ourselves that this is like a Christian country. Like, a lot of people believe that we don't value modesty, because the immediate gratification of like, you know, driving a fast car, like a loud car, or like, you know, shooting a gun and like blowing, like there's these very like, you know, instant,
like flashy.
Flashy, loud, like it stimulates your senses, right? Like there's a nature of like being bombastic and like being, you know, very striking to the senses, I think is something people celebrate here. But, you know, in a lot of other cultures, like the things that are valued most are like incredible, like moments of incredible calm and peace and like very subtle, you know, like nuances and like, you know, capturing like really, really like small and tender moments are things that are a little more like, I guess, appreciated in a way that aren't really here, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because since it's not appreciated, people are suffering mentally with their mental health because that is the solution. The little things is the key that I found over years of just thinking it had to be the flashy stuff, the big things, and it's not. It's sometimes just having a conversation one-on-one and just like connecting, or just like sitting and feeling a cold breeze hit you when it was a hot day. You finally got like that one cool breeze, and you're like, fuck. And you have that like 30 seconds of just relief, and then it gets hot again. But then you're like, you know what? The hots kind of sucks, but that one little breeze just kind of made everything else be. I can handle a little bit more now because it was worth that little reward of, which also goes to the marathon stuff, right? Like, right. The marathon is the hot fucking thing, but then when you finish it, the reward you get.
You got to do hard shit. That's what makes you hard.
Yeah, that's like David Goggins. He's like, stay hard.
Stay hard. You guys did David Goggins.
The cookie jar.
They would just groan through his advice. Yeah. No, it's true though. It's true. You gotta, you know, it like that's like, you know, like Winston Churchill believed that like all the fucked up shit that happened to him, you know, because he like lost a lot of family like throughout his life, you know, to like for like really messed up reasons. And you know, when World War II started, like he always would say like all of that shit like made me prepared to deal with Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. Like that's the stuff that like,
wow.
Yeah.
I love that he said that because I was just having a conversation with one of my friends about perseverance and how if there's something that people are, when people get jealous, I was basically talking to him about, because he's a comedian. He was saying, yeah, but social media people, stars or influencer fucking people, they have instant gratification. They have a huge following. People will buy stuff from them or they love them. But like, if you're only doing stand-up because he loves stand-up, but he mainly just does that, doesn't do social media stuff. He's like, I would kill to have that, you know, and the money and all that. And I was like, my friend, you don't understand because I'm in both worlds. Now, I'm not crushing it like that because I'm not making money like that at all, nowhere near.
Right, but you're a presence.
But I have a presence, and I know people that are crushing it.
Yeah.
And I've talked to them. I've seen. So I understand both worlds as a stand-up comic and that. And I told them, they're actually jealous of you. You don't understand that. He's like, why would they be? And I said, because you're doing something. He's like, but they can say anything they want, like, and they're confident and for millions of people to see. I'm scared to do that. And I said, no. There's still a fucking a buffer zone. There's a barrier. It's not in person. Okay. They're actually more insecure because they're not training themselves to say these things in person. The most courageous looking people on camera, on social media with followings, are some of the most fucking insecure people that can't speak their mind in person. Yeah. Because their brain wiring is only for
a monitor. And
cell phone, not in person. The in-person stuff requires, that's where you get the true grit.
Yeah.
And as comedians, we're constantly putting ourselves in the positions of just getting shit on, emotional pain. But that is the perseverance. They are jealous of the perseverance. Because I've had people say, I'm really amazed what you do. Like, I'm jealous of that. And I was like, why the fuck would you be jealous of me doing it? I don't got shit. And they're like, no. But you're doing something that I could never do. And I saw that as a common theme over and over.
A lot of them think they can do it. That's when it's funny.
Oh, you've been seeing that, right? Like actors and shit. And all, I'm like, my guy, just because you're famous, you did everything great in your own right. have a little bit more respect for the fucking craft.
I'm sure you're the funniest guy in your band. Like,
yeah, I'm sure all the people that are your fans are like, dude, you're so funny. I love your story. Yeah. It's not the fucking same.
It's not the same
thing. But yeah, we talked for a long time about that, and then it finally clicked with them. And they're jealous of the fact that even if you're crushing it with social media, okay, there's a lot of them that are very miserable and they want to quit. And they want to do something different because it's like the problem with social media when you have too much of a like a following and everybody's being a yes man and validating you is you when you have a feeling of God, I don't know, I just don't feel that fulfilled. You feel like guilty that you think that way and you never look into it, and it turns into this weird thing. But they're all jealous of the thing that we have, which is we have a thing we're willing to die for, which is.
No.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean, though. Like sacrifice for it.
Yeah.
Like sacrifice our life.
Yeah. You make a lot of. You have to. You sacrifice your time, your relationships, your
but who does that?
Comforts in your life.
That's how much you love that. That's how much we love that.
It's the way of the samurai. How much. Man.
It literally is like
some
that.
Real shit. Like,
and that is a thing that no amount of fame or money can bring you. A thing that you
I don't care. Like I used to think that like if I became famous, all of my problems would be over. Yeah. Not saying I'm famous now, but again, like I've talked to people that have like kind of crossed into like the next 3-4 echelons of this ladder, and and they're fine. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't change that much about their lives. Like they get to do what they love, but like I get to do what I love too. Like it's not for nothing. So, and I really had to like, especially during the pandemic, because a lot of people quit, right? And I had to like sit and think, because I started making a lot of money, like more money than I ever made, like more, like a lot of money for me, you know what I'm saying? Because I was living with very meager funds for a long time. Yeah. And then once I had a little more time to like pour into, paying attention and like kind of get my finances together a little bit, I did. Like I got a good corporate job, I got benefits and shit now. Like I'm doing okay. Like that's how I was able to move to West Hollywood and like afford this apartment is, because I'd kind of busted my ass to get my shit together a little bit during the lockdown.
Congrats, by the way. That's
thank you.
It's not easy to do.
It wasn't easy, but like I really did think, I was like, okay, obviously now I'm like living comfortably. If I never made it doing stand-up and I never was able to achieve like this much, like what I'm making now doing just comedy, would I still do it? And, I thought maybe I wouldn't. And for a while there, like it's when it looked like, this shit, like before the vaccine was announced and everything, it's like, man, maybe this is just a wrap. Like, and then as soon as the mic started coming back and shows started coming back, I couldn't wait. Like I couldn't wait to get back out there. And each time, like I'm like anytime I gotta go do a show now, or like even just go like hit a mic somewhere, like it's slotted or something, it's like I'm so fucking excited. You know what I'm saying? And like nothing about like I think it just felt like the absence just filled me with like a sense of gratitude. Like we get to do this. You know what I mean? Not even 1% of the world does stand-up comedy, but we do. You know what I'm saying? Not even 1% of this country. Like it's such a very special thing, and we are very fortunate to have been exposed to it at this time in history, at this time in our lives, with the resources that we have and the time that we're able to commit. Like there's so many things that had to align to perfection that allows me to get on that stage and grab that mic. True. And it just feels more special. You know what I mean? It just feels like really, really like this is the essence of life. For me, like this is the stuff that I breathe, and to not have it around seems devastating, and that's how I know that I'll never stop. It just, because it seems silly. Like, why would I not do this anymore? Like,
because you're not famous.
Just because I'm not, but like people will judge you for that, Especially like
they do.
Like if you're not a full-time comedian, there's definitely like you carry this weird shade with you. Where once you cross into that, maybe you've gotten on TV. Like maybe once you're a professional, right? Like a true professional, like that you earn a certain level of respect. And I don't necessarily think it always speaks to the quality of your work so much as the fact that you've managed to achieve it. But until you do, there is like, it is a weird monkey on your back that you're constantly like, yeah, but I'm not like a real comedian, like it's.
Yeah. Because like how people, they talk to you and stuff. But then but we have to remind ourselves, there's so many amazing comedians who aren't famous, who aren't crushing it.
I know.
But they're fucking so good.
They're so good at what they do.
It has nothing to do with their skill. That's not the issue. There's so many other factors that has to do with that are also out of your control.
Yeah.
It's not just like what's in your control. It's a gamble at the same time as well.
There's a comic in Portland named Katie Nguyen, very funny. She said something to me once. It still sticks with me. She talked about how, like, you know, at a certain point, like, you know, you look around, most of your peers that you like interact with on a regular basis are pretty funny people. You know what I mean? And, you know, a few of them are like damn funny, but there's still a lot of damn funny people. So eventually you just kind of get to a point where the landscape becomes like when they're picking the balls for the Powerball lottery results, you know what I'm saying? And they're turning that thing, and all the balls are about the same size. They're all the same size. Like maybe some of them are different colors, you know what I mean? But they're all moving in the same fashion, and they're all just as good. Like each ball would add a number that was, I mean, as far as they're concerned, like just as good to decide who the winner is. But every once in a while, just you'll see a couple of them just pop. You know what I'm saying? Just pop up. And that's kind of what this business turns into. Once you get to like a decent skill level, you're just one of the balls. And every once in a while, one pops. And sometimes, you know, like most of them don't. But that's okay because you're still in the game. Like we still get to do this, and we still have the opportunities that we're afforded.
Ooh, there's a great Theodore Roosevelt quote that has to do with being in the arena.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's a thing. I want to actually read it because I don't think I read it on this podcast before.
Theodore Roosevelt's podcast?
I mean, yeah. Rest in peace, Theodore Roosevelt arena. This quote, oh, here we go. It has to do exactly with what you're talking about. It's it's called "The Man in the Arena."
Yeah.
Let's read it for you guys. Let's read it right now.
Read it.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly.
Wow.
So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, man.
They don't know victory. You see the goosebumps?
Yeah, they're real. They're real.
It's hitting you, huh?
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm saying about the jealousy factor from these like super so-called famous.
They're not in the arena.
They're not in the actual arena. They're actually now. I'm not trying to like put shade on them because I'm doing that shit too. Like I get it, but the ones that are hating, there's some hateful people out there. It's because of jealousy, because they're like, oh, they don't got a following. They don't have money. The only people that think like that are the ones that aren't in the actual arena in other ways.
Do you even like comedy? You know, I look at people like that. Like, do you actually like doing stand-up? Because I do. You know, I remember a guy that I knew in Portland, and he was fine. Like, he wasn't, like, great. But, you know, we'd go on the road a bunch, and he was a good businessman. He did a decent job of booking a lot of shows. And he would say stuff like, yeah, I don't even show up for anything less than $200. It's like, but don't you like doing this?
That's
like,
weird when I hear that. And I've been hearing certain people say that I think are good. And they're like, no, you got to have standards. I'm like, I know fucking headliners that travel countries and make great money.
Yeah.
Who would do a bar show for free because it's stage time because they happen to not have a show that day because they love it and they want to try shit out.
It's better to do a free show than not do one.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'd rather do a show and you not pay me than not do a show where, you know, like you decided, you know what I mean? Like, I'm waiting for a payday that didn't come. Say that if I didn't have any one night or if it's any night that I have open, if I can get on stage in front of a real audience, I'm gonna go do it because I like doing stand up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. What did you do that day when you said no to that gig that they didn't give you no money for? Did you get out there? Like, did you get out and book a better gig? No? Then you fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a night you could have got on stage and you decided not to do it because of this weird thing that you have with money. Like, I get it. Your time is valuable and this shit sucks and it's a lot of effort, but that just tells me that you don't actually like doing it that much. And you're trying to get rich, which if that's the case, there are way better ways to get rich. If this is how you're gonna get rich, you're fucking up. Like,
you're digging a grave.
Yeah, that's
you're digging a fucking grave.
I have a buddy. It's like, isn't the whole thing with comedy just like try to get laid? I was like, if I was trying to get laid and spent this much time at the gym, right. I'd be getting laid way more than this. Like the amount of hours, like man hours I've committed,
and
like
money,
driving hours, writing hours, waiting around, not just time on stage, like everything that goes into like making those 10 minutes possible. If you had put in that much gym time, you look like fucking Russell Crowe. You know what I mean? Man in the Arena.
And Russell Crowe in the Gladiator.
In the Gladiator. Well, or
not
whatever.
now because he's an old man.
You look like Captain America. That's what I'm saying. It's like
Steve Rogers.
Yeah, you have your reason has to be because if not, you will burn the fuck out because this shit sucks. Like if you don't love what all the trouble is worth, then you don't belong here.
Yeah, just do a set a few days ago in San Diego. Me and my friend, we drove cumulative, like all together. What was that like a 6.5, 7 hour drive?
Yeah,
all together to
go to 15 minutes.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah,
and then none of us were like, oh, I can't believe we drove this far. Oh, I can't.
No,
none of that
because it went well. You didn't give a shit. Like it's
and I didn't even do that great, honestly. But you know what's funny? I learned from that, and to me it's not even a loss. It was just I didn't do spectacular, but I learned so much about myself and what I need to do for like the rest of my life for comedy to get better, and that I couldn't have gotten at a better time or anywhere else if I didn't go that far, because there's lessons that are only learned through those like long hours and moments just for that one moment, which I can only imagine a fucking Olympic athlete. Like that's
right, like
for
guys that run
Jesus
like
Christ.
the 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
I think about it that way. Those races don't even last 10 seconds. But the amount of hours that went into them getting ready for those like 9 seconds and change or 8 seconds and change is insane.
That's next level.
It's a life suck. Like they had to forget everything else for those 9 seconds. And it's amazing. You know what I mean? Like that's how it feels when you're like wrecking shop. Like when you're like, oh God, my friend Ben said this once. I fucking love it. Like when you have the wall shaking, you know what I mean? When you're like crushing,
reverberating.
You're just like, I can do anything with this audience. Like there's like a sweet spot where like, and it's usually during longer sets. Like if you could bite off the first like 6-7 minutes really strong, you just kind of lock into this flow state with the crowd where all of your pauses, everyone's dead silent. You know what I mean? And then their laughs are just explosive and you could just like ride that lightning. Like that feeling, it's like those 9 seconds, right? Like it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes, it doesn't matter if it's 30, it doesn't matter if it's 2 hours. It's like it's all worth it.
It's so synergistic.
Yeah, man.
It's a perfect flow.
And it's ephemeral. Like it comes and goes. Like and that to me is like that just makes it that much more rich. You know what I mean? And it's like you're capturing something very unique that only exists in time and space one time with you in that room, and it'll never happen again. Like and you know what I mean? It's like catching lightning in a bottle. Like it's a beautiful feeling. And everything is worth it. Even if all of my shit, like my relationships, my job, like it could all be on the rocks, and that would certainly affect me. Like I'm not an insane person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm funny, I'm okay. Like,
that's the
I'm
thing
okay.
that people get jealous of.
Yeah.
And that proves it further.
It's hard to do.
And anybody listening to this, it's not. I'm not trying to like flex on you or make you feel bad if you haven't found your thing. What I'm saying is, if you find yourself hating on people, you're probably projecting something, and it's okay because I've done that for a large part of my life.
Who has time to do that?
I did. I had a lot of time.
That sounds.
I had so much
stuff. I don't have time to sit and stew. All right, I have stuff that I want to be doing, and all of it is better than like being angry at somebody that isn't in the room with me.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I had certain really large influencer people like that you're like, why? Who are super famous, do well, that talk about little old me, and I'm like, how do you have time to even think about me? I'm a nobody, and this is before I even really had like a following. Yeah, and I'm still a fucking nobody. I don't make money like that. I'm so small in the grand scheme of all the influencer people, and that's what showed me even more from that experience of just like, you have time to think about me?
Yeah.
But you have money, you have all these things, all these connections, everything, and you're thinking about me?
I think there's a difference between accumulating capital and adding value. You know?
Yeah.
There's a difference between just collecting money and stuff and actually, you know, like reaping the rewards of having contributed something to people. And I don't doubt that these people are entertaining. You know what I mean? I'm sure in that way they are, you know, like they are, you know, adding value to people's lives in one sense or another. But also, like, I think it's important to kind of identify what your place in history is at any given moment, right? Like how the choices you're making affect. So I've been listening to this book called Shriek and Afterward. It's in a series of books about this like almost like sort of steampunk mythical city called Ambergris, and it's a really fucked up place, and it's supposed to be like a horror novel, but in that one of the characters, she writes a letter to her brother where she talks about what the nature of life is, and she says that all life, each individual collective element of it, you know, from like the germ to the plants to each person, are all puppets on a string. And traditionally, religion teaches you that all the strings lead up to one single puppeteer that controls them from a singular point. But in fact, how it works is each puppet is connected through an intricate series of strings to every other puppet. And when one of those connections is severed, either due to loneliness or loss, or, you know, like some kind of hurt or damage I'm butchering this, the act of that connection being severed, you know, reverberates throughout all of the other strings. So anytime any one person, you know, is going through a series of negative emotions, that has lasting effects that spread outwards like ripples towards everybody else's lives around them. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, you have to think about what you do, what you say in the way that it, even if it's not somebody you know, like just someone on the street, your neighbors or whatever, like someone that you don't have like a conscious relationship with, in one way or another, if it affects you, it changes you. Like being an asshole changes you. You know what I mean? You start to feel about yourself in a different way when you do something that you know was like not a shitty thing to do. Like if you know what I mean? Like I've like stolen a parking space once and it was totally somebody else's and she was waiting for it and I'd been looking for parking for 15 minutes. I was like, sorry. Like, and I didn't feel good about that. Like I've been unkind with my words to people, you know, I've been neglectful of people in my life. And it like took me a long time to understand that even though there's a lot of different people around and it, you know, this is just one person, like there's still very significant implications to the choices that you make in terms of how it affected them either directly or indirectly, either significantly or insignificantly. Even if you're not necessarily able to capture it in that moment, there are things that if you know your actions are leading to negative consequences that take place that actually affect all of those strings in that way. You know what I'm saying? So when people shit on people like that and go out of their way to like try to hurt somebody or like make them feel bad or like, you know, for reasons that you can't justify, because like sometimes you got to shut some shit down because some people are just causing damage. But those are different situations. Like if you were going out there every single day and being like, what's up with these Jews? You know what I'm saying? And just like started being really terrible and somebody came after you. It's like, then they're doing it in an act of self-preservation. Like they're adding, or not self-preservation, like the preservation of others. You know what I mean? Because they're adding value by taking away the negativity that you're spreading. But that's not what's happening. And if you can't absorb that and you aren't able to base your decisions based on like that very sensitivity, then I don't know, I can't respect you and what you do, because you're actually just out here fucking shit up, and everything that you're doing is inherently destructive. And how can I get on board with somebody like that?
I agree 100%. And, you know, some of these people that would say certain things, their whole thing is controversy. And like you're saying, if you put enough energy out there, you can't separate yourself from that anymore. Mm-hmm. That becomes you.
That's who you are.
And you become miserable. Mm-hmm. And you need to do more of it to try to fix yourself. It's like being an alcoholic, you having withdrawals, and then you drinking more to make yourself feel better, but you're right. It's still your own poison.
Yeah.
And you're dying. You're killing yourself. Right? So,
and it's not always easy. You know, you have to kind of, because, you know, our chimp-like instincts are always to, you know, chimps are destructive, right? And we're mostly chimp. So it's really, you have to kind of put some thought and effort into it. I just think that if you wield influence, you have a responsibility to do that. And if that's not something you're willing to own, that's like, it's just like a sorry cop-out. Like, that's someone that's like, you know, sort of spiritually weak.
Taking the easy way.
Yeah, because they don't want to have to carry the responsibility of having to make the right choices, because it is a responsibility. Like, everybody has that responsibility, but, like, you know, you have to actually own it in order to, like, actually, you know, be a positive influence and a positive presence in people's lives.
It's very true. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of things after this.
Okay.
Just a little bit, so you know.
It's the inside stuff.
You ain't gonna know.
You don't gotta know.
Okay.
Are we wrapping this up?
We're wrapping this up.
Okay. All right. Are we meditating? Meditate on some stuff.
I was trying to think of a good way to end it.
Okay.
Thank you for marrying me. Thank you for.
Well, I'm divorcing you now. Give me half your stuff.
I said mirroring.
Oh, mirroring you.
Not marrying you.
Okay. Well.
But mirroring.
Aren't I just flattering myself?
Mirroring me like this is almost like.
Is this nice?
A healthy marriage.
Is this pleasant?
It's pleasant.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, because when guys are doing a similar thing, it's unity. When girls are doing and dressing the same, they're like, "Fuck that bitch."
Should we have a moment? Like, should we have a minute of silence on your podcast? Have you ever done that, where it's just a minute of quiet?
I think I did almost a minute one time, just like for like meditation. Yeah,
just like naturally.
Yeah. Well, I just said it, and then I wanted the people to join in.
Yeah.
But we could just let's just do one slow deep breath in, and then a slow exhale. Ready?
That was good.
That felt good. That actually felt really good.
That felt good. Gotta breathe.
And now the tears come out. I needed that.
I know, yeah. Just break in half.
Yeah. Okay. Neeraj, would you like to plug in your social medias?
Sure. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at mynipsdon'tlie. You heard that right. It's at mynipsdon'tlie. So check me out. Yeah, hopefully gonna be on the road again soon. Gonna bop around to a couple of different cities, do some local shows. Very excited. Then yeah, back in LA. So I guess just look for where I'm coming to a bar or brew pub near you.
Coming to a bar near you. All right, guys.
It's like a Bud Light ad.
I know, right?
Coming to a bar near you.
Yeah. Drink it up. But guys, this has been another episode of the Setbreaker Podcast. Thank you for listening. And until then, I will see you on the next episode. See ya.